So we're out here at the land today. It's mid-April, and this is the time of year where traditionally we like to do some soil samples furthest away from planting that we're going to be. So the fertilizer has more than likely all dissolved into the soil. But then also just so we can check the pH, know how much lime we need to put out this off season, and then know sort of a roundabout idea of what the pH is, and then your NP and K for, you know, what we're going to be planting in the fall. We picked this up online. We're going to link in the description to it. I'm personally going to focus in on doing 3 different types of fields. One where I feel like the soil is pretty good. The second one will be a super sandy field, which is probably going to be a lot lower in pH. And then the third one would be a loading ramp that we have turned into a field. We lease property, so we don't actually get to design everything how we'd want to, but I know a lot of you guys are the same way. So knowing what the levels are will help us to be able to determine what we need to do moving forward to try and get those levels of, you know, the pH, the nitrogen, the phosphorus, and the potash to a level that is just optimal to grow better food plots in the fall, to obviously hold more deer and to be able to harvest them over it. So let's get into it. Foam kits are super easy to use. And for about $30 and 1 hour of your time, you can get 10 pH, 5 nitrogen, 5 phosphorus, and 5 potassium or potash readings. For your more detailed results, you're going to probably want to go to a university or your local agricultural lab if you're looking for, you know, your more readout on micronutrients. But if you're just looking for your basic readings on pH and the 3 major nutrients found in your soil, these home kits are fantastic for that. We're going to dig 6 to 8 inches deep and get samples to bring back to the lab and test, but I will tell you the topography of your field definitely matters in this. Your highest point in your field is going to be lower in organic material, lower in nitrogen, and lower in a number of other micro and macronutrients just because of runoff. Anything in your soil that can become water soluble will have runoff down to the lower elevation points in your field. The lowest point of elevation in your field is going to be the highest in organic material, in nitrogen, and then, like I said, in a number of micro and macro nutrients. I would say the midway point in elevation of your fields could be a good area to test, but if you can test a few different times in the same field, it might be a good idea to take a sample from the highest point, the lowest point, and the midway point in terms of elevation. And this could give you a great sort of spectrum to take an average from in order to build a plan of attack. Even specific areas in one field will be different, so it's recommended to do multiple samples from each field to get an educated idea of where it's at as a whole and when it comes to the levels of these different nutrients. Then when you have those readings on the nutrients, basically what we're going to use that for is to build a recommendation of how to improve the health of the soil moving into the fall. The time saved of buying a kit like this and being able to test it all in an hour is amazing. And also it was just a little discouraging when they were telling us we needed to add 5 tons per acre of lime to build up the pH of our soil. This kit comes with 4 tubes, 1 for pH, 1 for nitrogen, 1 for phosphorus, and 1 for potash or potassium. The kit comes with 25 capsules, 10 for pH, 5 nitrogen, 5 phosphorus, and 5 potash. It also comes with a digital soil tester, which uses an optical soil chamber to view, then give a test reading. We bought a gallon of distilled water and put it in a water bottle for ease of transfer, but you can use any type of distilled water for this. pH testing was really simple. All you do is add the powder from the green capsule into your tube with the green cap, add distilled water up to the indicated line, shake it up, let it settle for a couple minutes, then test it. Your soil's pH controls whether nutrients work or go to waste. So you really should be making efforts to fix your pH before you focus on anything else with your soil. Here are 3 reasons why it's important to soil test in order to make educated adjustments with the soil in the fields on your property. Number one is time. Soil adjustments like lime and fertilizer need weeks, months, sometimes years to work because it takes time for them to break down into the soil. Number two, better decision making. Once you know your soil's profile, you can choose the right seed blend, fertilizers, and then even fertilizer amounts moving into planting. Then number three, a better return on your investment. Fertilizer isn't cheap, seed is not cheap. Off-season soil tests save you money by telling you exactly what you need to plant, and it takes the guesswork out of it. Great hunting plots start long before planting day. I do believe that. The other three nutrients require a 30-minute settling time, so we took them out of these tubes and placed them in some fancy storage containers, otherwise referred to as repurposed Gatorade bottles. Then all you do is you're going to pull the liquid back into the testing tube. There's a lot easier ways to do that, honestly, but we just found that this was the easiest way for us to transfer the soil from the hunting land to the office where we were testing this in. For your typical three-way wheat, oat, and ryegrass blend, you want to live in the pH range between 6 and 7. If your pH is too low, it locks up your nutrients and nothing you plant is going to thrive. So boosting pH becomes a priority over everything if that number is low or your soil is too acidic, which is often what you're going to find with leased land because your food plots probably originated as loading ramps for pines. If you wait until planting season to think about your soil, you're already behind. Adjusting the pH takes time, so we're talking months, maybe even a year to boost that pH number if it's low, and finding out what that number is in the spring of every year gives us time in the spring and the summer to begin to add lime to the soil and to make adjustments leading into better production in the fall and winter. I will say nitrogen is the hardest of the three nutrients to test because of the fluctuations in this number throughout the year. But phosphorus and potash or potassium should be pretty easy to get an accurate reading. So soil number one, the pH ended up being alkaline, nitrogen depleted, phosphorus sufficient, and potassium surplus. This was sort of as expected with this soil. It wasn't terrible, maybe not amazing, but pretty good. Your normal pH scale goes from 0 to 14, with 7 being neutral. 7 is sufficient based on the test that we're using with this testing kit. High pH is going to be alkaline. Low pH is going to be acidic. So too high or too low leads to the plants not being able to uptake the nutrients that are actually in the soil. If the pH is off, it doesn't matter how good the other nutrients are, you aren't going to get the production you're looking for out of your food plots. Soil number two, the pH ended up being acidic, which we predicted because it started as a loading ramp. Nitrogen was depleted, phosphorus was adequate, and potassium was deficient. As we expected, this soil was rough and it needs some love. This is the one that we figured was bad because it probably had pines sitting on it at one point. The three numbers on your fertilizer bag are always going to refer back to the NP and K that we're testing. Most guys will end up going with a 1313, so a 13-13-13 for their fall food plots because of cost and availability. Soil number three, the pH ended up being solid, which is crazy to me, and I don't even really trust it, to be honest. Nitrogen was adequate, phosphorus was adequate, and potassium was sufficient. If nothing else, put a little extra effort into testing your fields this spring or summer to see where you stand moving into the fall. Good luck.